A man who loves you will never do this. Well, we're going to dive into this right now, and I'm going to answer the question right away. A man who loves you will never delay commitment. That's right. He won't delay commitment. He will progress the relationship forward, but he needs this, which I'll share with you in a moment. So I think the better question to be asking, or the real question to be asking, is whether or not he likes you. Because the reality is love takes time. Love is a choice. Oftentimes we believe it's just a feeling we can't control, which certainly could be love attachment style. And we'll talk about that in a moment as well. But then again, if you've ever heard love is a choice, we'll dive into this in a moment. So, coming back to the question whether or not he likes you, he won't do these following things. And I'm going to share with you a list, and then I'll get to what a man needs to actually be able to love you. Now, one thing he won't do is he won't be inconsistent. His actions will match his words when someone likes you. Now, this is very tricky in the early stages of dating because oftentimes people today, particularly men in midlife, and I always say midlife is after baby making years and before retirement, although that isn't exactly midlife, but that's what I believe it is. Many people in this category are divorced. And why is this so critically important to understand? Roughly about 75% of singles over 45 years are divorced. And with divorce comes an emotional, oftentimes traumatic event in a person's life. It can be almost akin to PTSD or complex PTSD. It could be that dramatic or traumatic in a person's life. And then you have to unravel the tapestry. You had a life with another person to begin to step into your sovereignty if you were so enmeshed with another person, particularly if you were so unhappy with another person. So, coming back to consistency, his actions will match his words. The reality, as I said a moment ago, he may have like you, but he may also be feeling a but or a maybe. He likes you, but or maybe, or the but being, well, there's something that he doesn't like, or maybe he's just not ready. All of these factors play into it because, as I said before, divorce causes people to be rather, I didn't actually say this, but I'm going to say it now. Divorce causes people to be rather gun shy. And this is where inconsistent behavior begins to surface. So it's really important to evaluate a person's past to get a sense of their capacity to be in a relationship. Now, let's differentiate between desire to be in a relationship versus their capacity to be in a relationship. Now, I've said this before, and I've added a caveat to this. Someone's desire to be in a relationship and their capacity to be in a relationship has to exceed their fear or pain in their life. So someone might desire a relationship, but fear and pain exceeds it, so they don't have the capacity. Honestly, folks, just because someone is desirous of companionship, connection, and physical intimacy doesn't mean they're capable of commitment. This is so critically important. And if you've been following my channel for a while, you know of something that I call the 3 people actively dating. By the way, this is not a fact. It's merely an opinion. I believe 20% of the population are what I call users. They seek short-term game. They're the love bombers, the players, the gold diggers, the entitled people. Whether it's a man or a woman, they only care about themselves. Now, many of you might believe this is well over 20%. I think it's 20% because a lot of people fall into this second category I call spenders. And the reason why they call spenders is that they will spend time with you. They seek companionship, connection, and sex. But they have no direction. They have uncertainty. They're fearful. They usually have a dysfunctional life. They put you in their life as a placeholder. And then this last category, the grower builders, they seek commitment. They're emotionally grown up. They have good relationship skills. They have their act together. And while you might believe it's less than 20%, which it might be true, it might be less than 20%. These are the people that I'm going to talk about in a moment. So just stay tuned because you need to hear what I'm about to say, because a man needs this to actually love you. Now, when he likes you, what he won't do, he won't actively not listen to you. Actually, I think I said that wrong. He won't actively listen to you. In fact, he might only be about himself. Okay, if he likes you, he won't actively listen to you. He'll be thinking about what he wants to say. He's more focused on himself. And by the way, this is true of women as well. I've seen this with women. They're hyper-focused on themselves. This is one of the challenges with dating, is it's oftentimes, what can I get instead of what can I give? When a person genuinely likes you, they care about what you have to say. They listen to what you say. They care about what you say. They actively ask questions about things you have to say. I can tell you, I'm in the dating marketplace. I do this habitually, but what fascinates me is women aren't necessarily doing the same things. So in this conversation, when we're talking about men, we can also talk about women who are oftentimes disconnected in the dating marketplace as well. Now, one thing, if he likes you, he won't do is he won't dismiss your feelings. He won't dismiss your feelings. He's open and he values trust. He values trust. What I mean by open, he's open to hearing your feelings. He recognizes that trust isn't just about fidelity. Trust is about, this person's feelings matter to me, commensurate with my own. This person's best interest is my best interest. This is what begins to happen when you like someone. Folks, you have many friends that you like. One of the fundamentals of your friendship is that their best interests are your best interest and vice versa. This is where trust is birthed. Actually, let me reframe that. Trust is birthed to something I'm about to share. Trust is birthed through social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, traveling together, teamwork, building skills, both in your personal and your professional life, and also physical intimacy as well as emotional intimacy. That's where trust is birthed. See, sadly, we have a very preoccupied dating marketplace. Okay. Now, what I mean by preoccupied, we have a significant percentage of human beings who are deeply wounded from their childhood or adult experiences. Now, many of you may even be unaware of the childhood wounds you experienced. You know, it's interesting. I was just watching the movie Inside Out 2. Inside Out 2, which is a reflection of this young girl's feelings and her belief system. You know, what's fascinating is oftentimes trauma doesn't come in the form of our parents. Trauma comes in the form of what we experience in school or our teachers, and our belief systems can come from that. Can I share with you something? I had a school teacher that told me in front of the classroom, I'm stupid. Do you know, this carried a belief system within me for decades? Actually, I still have this belief that I'm stupid. That's a traumatic event to a young child. And yet we dismiss traumas because we oftentimes think of the severe things like physical abuse, true verbal abuse, and we don't realize that there are micro traumas that happen in our childhood. And then, as I said earlier, divorce or the ending of a relationship can be a very traumatic event. If you haven't read the book, The Hoffman Process, this is a deep dive into healing childhood wounds and adult traumas to reframe your belief system. And this is not for the faint of heart. This work is not for the faint of heart. He won't dismiss your feelings. He's open and values trust. By the way, when I say he, she won't dismiss his feelings, and she's open and values trust as well. Now, one thing a man who likes you won't do is he won't make excuses to spend time with you. Now, sadly, here's the challenge we have in the dating environment today. In many cases, we don't date within people within literally our proximity of where we live. And this can be very problematic. This puts too much emphasis on a cyber connection. And the reality is life can get in the way of connecting with another human being. Life can get in the way of connecting with another human being. So oftentimes these excuses is because there's not a proximity to be able to cultivate and build that trust that I talk about. But the truth is, when someone really likes you, they're going to work around this. And we'll talk about that in a moment as well. And one other thing, when a man likes you, is he won't be stuck in his problems. He won't be stuck in his problems. His life is stable, because the reality is if a person wants to cultivate a relationship with someone, if they want to bond with someone else, it's very difficult when the ground underneath them doesn't feel solid. If a person's life is in some level of chaos, and I don't mean temporary chaos, but as a person who lost a child, and many of you know I lost a child, there was a period of time in my life where there was an emotional uncertainty going on in my life. Now, that was situational to some degree because I couldn't control it. But I wasn't stuck in the grieving process. Some people are so stuck in their pain, their fears, their anxieties. They're so stuck that they are paralyzed to actually leaning into loving you. So I said before, a man will never do this. He will never delay commitment. He'll progress the relationship forward. But a man needs this for this to happen. He needs to be committed to commitment. Bum, bum, bum. He needs to be committed to commitment. See, without a commitment to commitment, you have no roadmap on how to explore a relationship with another human being. Many of you like the idea that you can just sit back in your feminine energy and let a man lead. Well, he can't lead if he doesn't have direction, if he's not committed to commitment. And as we said earlier in this conversation, love is a choice. And more importantly, love in this context is about being all in, all in. See, when you're all in, when you are committed to commitment and you are making a commitment to a person, you're saying, look, we're going to have, okay. See, the fantasy, many of you suckle to the nipple of this fantasy that if we love each other, everything will just magically work out. The reality is love is about overcoming your differences. Love is about finding ways, or let me reframe that. Commitment is about finding ways to solve your problems when you're fully committed. You know, it's interesting. Many of you might have watched The Golden Bachelor. Both of them said profusely, I need to find the person I can't live without. They met each other and in a short period of time got engaged and got married right away. And they found out that they weren't compatible from a lifestyle perspective. But they kept profusely saying, if we love each other with magic fairy dust, we'll make all of this work. Commitment is about all in. When my parents got married, that was it. They were committed. And believe me, there were times my parents were really at each other's throats. My mother even said there was a point in time where I wished your father was dead. That's how painful it was. And yet commitment, all in, requires being committed to it. You see, we have this passive way of approaching relationships. In fact, sadly, well, let me ask you a question. Are you done with dating? Are you done with dating? Are you frustrated with the dating process? I can appreciate that. I feel the same way. This is why going forward, I'm going to talk more about authentic connections through self-awareness and self-love. Many of you know I wrote a book about what the heck is self-love anyway, a journey of personal development, self-help, and spiritual work. By the way, there's links below to get a copy of all the books I recommend. Why is this so critically important? Because when you are in your sovereignty, when you are so attuned to your sovereignty, and particularly you understand your attachment style. I mentioned this before. If you haven't read these 3 books, Wired for Love by Dr. Stan Tatkin, number 1. Attached by Amir Levine and Rachel Heller, number 2. And Learning Love by Thais Gibson. This is all about understanding your attachment style, but more importantly, the attachment style of the person you might be engaged in a relationship with. Because without understanding, attachment styles are all the roadblocks to love. This conversation, a man who loves you will never do this. Well, if you don't understand, if you have no self-awareness, recognizing one's insecurities, recognizing one's negative judgments, recognizing how our actions might affect another human being, recognizing limiting beliefs, recognizing negative patterns that bring one pain. Remember I said the desire and the capacity must exceed the fear and the pain. If one doesn't understand themselves, if they're not self-aware and also nurturing themselves, it's going to be very problematic. You see, I resist a lot of dating advice, and I sometimes mock a lot of dating advice because it's surface level. Now, by the way, my advice is always the same. Do personal development, self-help, spiritual work, therapy, become self-aware, do self-love. I'm not teaching those things. I'm here to encourage that without understanding this, you're going to be problematic in relationships. And as I said before, dating is so convoluted, and proximity to physical connections is so rare because we're so dependent on cyber connections, because we're not in the same environment with another person. And add to that the paradox of choice. Oh my God, we have this false sense of belief that we have all these options. And this is the enormous culprit. So how do we combat all this? Well, first off, I don't know why. Let's reframe the word combat. I hold hope, everyone. One of the things I teach in my private coaching is discernment, which hones your intuition. Discernment that hones your intuition. I'm here to encourage vetting a person through your self-awareness and your self-love practice. And by the way, there's a link below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. I'm still amazed that this roadmap that I've created for clients yields so many amazing results. I go from clients who are, struggling to meet a guy to getting married, getting engaged, falling in love, moving in with someone. It's amazing how this roadmap leads to what many of you desire, is that juicy, delicious, healthy, happy relationship. And if you need some support with that, there's links below, as I said, there's a link right here to schedule a discovery call with me, because I do hold hope that there are plenty of grower and builders, both men and women alike, who can meet each other. They might meet each other online. They might meet each other at a spiritual retreat. They might meet each other at a yoga class. Yes, it is a pain in the ass to meet people in real life. I get it. You're frustrated. Men aren't approaching me. The reality is with so many people out there, we don't know who's single, who's available, who's in a relationship with someone, who's wounded. It's very rare. So this is why the online dating medium is at least a door opener, and that's it. And yet, sadly, the problem with dating today, it's too much expectation based and not enough heart-centered based. This is why authentic connections through self-awareness and self-love will change your life. Hey, folks, is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? This was a cup from a client. If it is, I'd like to hear your thoughts on what I just shared today. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell on the YouTube and then also on your phone so you can be notified of new videos. Also, if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below to schedule a discovery call to join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. You can get the books I recommend, all listed below under Jonathan Recommends. Book recommendations. You can follow me on Instagram. You can even get my dating vows, which is something you should share before you're physically intimate with someone. All the links are below. All right, those who know my live format know it's time for Q&A. If you have a question, write the word question in the chat box. Or you can purchase a super sticker, super chat. There's a little $sign in the chat box. All the monies from the super sticker, super chat goes to a scholarship fund in the name of my son, Connor Asley. That's a picture of him right there, Salty. He's my son who passed away over 6 years ago. In his honor, we donate to causes like the Hoffman Process Insight Institute, just to name a few. All right. Oh, and our goal will be $50 today. I'd appreciate some love. By the way, Karen says, Jonathan, I gave your teacher's words great consideration. I could not find any stupid. So that's the thing. There's nothing now. Now you need something. Now, if you need something, ask why. You know, that moment in my life created a memory that I literally have a visceral feeling to that. I mean, I can go back to 3rd grade. I can go back 50 years and remember how that felt when the teacher said that. This isn't just a back of the mind memory. This is a very in front memory that created a belief system for me. And I was actually tested with fairly high IQ, and yet I struggled in school thereafter. I struggle with memory recall. I struggle with a lot of things. And so while I know cognitively she's not right, this is such a deep ingrained belief system that was entrenched. And so when I talk about childhood wounds, I'm talking about, by the way, I was picked on by kids a lot. Many of you can relate to that. You know, we might have had good parents, but we might have had experiences that dramatically affected us and created our belief system. You have to watch the movie Inside Out too to understand this at a deeper level. So I'm just aware. I recognize that I'm not stupid. You know, I'm not here to say I'm smarter than anyone, because that I do know. But I'm certainly not above anyone who might have less intelligence than me, if there is how we even quantify that. But Karen, I appreciate your share. Thank you so much. Oh, RM Bell just gave us a $10 super sticker. Thank you so much. Great talk today, my friend. And I'm watching. She's a therapist and she's a new supporter of yours. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. RM Bell also say, I watched Insight 2 and I cried my eyes out. Oh my God, I cried my eyes out as well, because it hit me at such a visceral level. It hit me at such a visceral level. Stephanie has a question. Can this be re-listened to, please? Yes, this live format, you can just go back and watch it over and over and over again. As soon as it's complete, it'll be up on my YouTube channel. So yes, you can. Pamela says, I've given up on all expectations and try to go into dating as this is going to be a great experience. I'm trying to fly more by the seat of my pants and not be so rigid. Amen, Pamela. Way to go. We're there with you. Angela can relate. A teacher treated me the same way. It was about 5th grade. I was also greeted that way by the principal at a Christian school at both times. Yes, there is so many layering of pain that many of us experienced, and we it's in the back of it's created. You have to watch Inside Out too, to understand how these experiences create who we are as adults. And sadly, or not sadly, thankfully, joy joy is the emotion that is fighting for the little girl, Riley. All right, let's keep going. Beach Lover has a personal question to ask me. I'm wondering what work you have done to heal the stupid comment. What specifically have you done to heal that? Well, it's kind of interesting you say that. So first, awareness is about 80% of it. I'm aware that this belief system is a reflection. So first, getting to the root of where this came from. Now, what's interesting is I have a personality trait that counterbalances the stupid, okay? And that personality trait is when I think I know something, I become hyper righteous. I become hyper righteous. Many of you watch my videos, you know I can be ridiculously righteous at times, okay? I believe, and sometimes that comes from my knowledge and my experience, and sometimes it comes from a belief of overcoming that stupidness. Now, I'm righteous sometimes because I'm trying to make a point. Whether it's right or wrong, I'm here to offer perspective. And sometimes I do it in a very righteous way. So my stupid gets overcome or overshadowed by a righteousness within me. Now, I'm very self-aware of this, and I do my best to catch my stupid righteous personality, my stupid righteous personality. I do my best to catch it, not always. And sometimes people call me out on my shit. Sometimes people write negative comments when I'm in that space of contempt. I had one woman recently comment on one of my videos that I have contempt for women. Folks, I have contempt for men. I have contempt for women. I have contempt for what I think is stupidity because I have contempt for myself. It's just that contempt is just a reflection of my own shit. See, self-awareness, to get at the ninja level of self-awareness, is taking 100% ownership of everything that happens in your life. Most people are in the blame game. They blame everybody else. They're pointing the finger at everyone else without looking at the three fingers pointing back at them. So I think my self-awareness and the fact that I can catch myself fairly quickly is how I overcome it. But it's learning to catch yourself before you fall in that pit of emotional despair. Great question. Thank you so much, Beach Lover. Oh, Cindy has a great question. If you don't have disposable income, a man does, he has lots. Can you expect him to pay for things he asked you to include in travel? I think this is a great question. We have to recognize that, okay, a human being has, most people in midlife, they have the income to the resources to take care of their own lives. Now, I know you've been believing men are protectors and men are providers and men are supposed to pay for everything. Sure, that works out great in the fantasy world, and that works out great for rich people. But if a person's resources is only able to sustain themselves, okay, and there's no excess or disposable resources, then they can't resource you, okay? So if you're able to take care of yourself and he's able to take care of yourself, then I think two incomes are better than one. If he has excess resources, I believe the person who makes the most should contribute the most to the relationship. But I don't believe it should be an Now, if someone is genuinely rich, I think here in the United States, I'll say for Southern California, for people who make over $200,000 a year in Southern California, over that amount, you know, they have enough resources to cover some of someone else's needs. Okay. But in other parts of the country, the average person in the United States only makes makes less than $100,000 a year. They live, 80% of the population doesn't have over 3 months savings in the bank. But it's a great question. So we have to recognize that to pay for dates requires disposable income in excess of what it takes to cover your expenses. And by the way, the economy is rough right now. A lot of people, their income is down. So this grand expectation that men are supposed to pay because I spent all this money getting dialed up for a date. I just can't stand that rhetoric. By the way, if you don't have the resources, then don't get overdress for a date. Okay. Just do what you'd normally do if you went out with friends. Anyways, those are just some rough thoughts. There's more that I could add to that. But again, when it comes to travel, if the person, again, I believe the person who has the most should contribute the most. That's my belief system. Janet says, thank you, Jonathan. This was interesting and insightful. I never heard commit to commitment. You have given me something to ponder. This is new content for me, Janet. So yes, commitment to commitment. Angela says, I'm using my cell phone and cannot find your books, being able to join your group, etc. By the way, it's in the show notes of this video. You might have to wait till the video is over to click the show notes, and I will also post this and pin it as the verse comment, all of the links as soon as this video is over, live stream is over. Laura says, question, I've known a guy for 2 weeks, been on 2 dates with him. We text daily, no spark yet. I asked him out second week, told him to pick a place, did not until 4 p.m. that day. How long to wait for a real spark or kiss? You know, if you aren't progressing forward in liking a person, by the time you get somewhere between the 4th and 10th date, I know that's a broad range, 4 and 10, but if you're not feeling it by the 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th date, chances are it's just not, if you're not feeling, liking them a little bit more each time, it's probably not going to happen. I call this my 10-date rule. It takes about 10 dates to build the first layer of trust. Now, I've always said it takes about 100 hours of face-to-face time to build the first layer of trust. But if by 10th date you're not feeling it, you know, just recognize that we have to stop dating. We have to approach it from a heart-centered place, a friendship-based place. You haven't read the book, If the Buddha Dated, This throws out the bullshit gender rhetoric and says, how can we get to know each other at a heart-centered level? This book is listed below. Beach Lover wants to tell me, stop having contempt for yourself. You're perfect. You're good inside. Look at all of these beliefs make up who I am. It's my checks and balances. Believe me, sometimes the negative, actually, all beliefs aren't negative. Where is that book? There is a book. Bear with me 1 second. I had a guest, Deb Battersby, on a video. You may want to Google it. I had her on a video, and she talked about all emotions aren't negative or positive. We oftentimes think of them as negative, but they're all just feedback, and they're all part of our belief system about who we are. Good or bad, they make up. Sometimes anxiety can help motivate us, even though we think of anxiety as a negative emotion. So check out the book Freedom Point, okay? Angela says, instant attraction or no attraction. I know it's kind of complicated. Sometimes we have this instant attraction, we have no attraction. You know, that the rule of thumb is, my rule of thumb is, if you like the person and you are attracted, you know, so long as they don't have a beer gut the size of Texas and they're missing front teeth. I know that might be a little bit crude. So long as you're not repulsed is what I mean, then I think give a person a chance. I've been told women fall in love between the ears, not necessarily with the eyes. V.I. Simmons says, I enjoy watching your videos because you're not afraid to be transparent. Folks, you know, it's funny. I was just thinking about a very famous dating coach in the dating marketplace. I don't think we actually know his real, like the real insides of the relationship. I believe in being transparent because I try to practice what I preach is all. So I try to practice what I preach. And what do I preach? I mostly preach not dating and relationship advice. What I preach is self-awareness and self-love, and self-awareness and self-love, and self-awareness and self-love, and self-awareness and self-love. Heather's in the house. A guy who was flirting with me for quite a while, he finally asked for my number. When a man gets your number, how long does it take for them to reach out to you? It should be less than a week. Excuse my slurping, by the way. Should be less than a week. But you see, how long does it usually take? If his pain and fear exceeds his capacity or desire for the relationship, he may never reach out. You know, I think it's maybe if you have his number, just say, hey, would you like to get together for coffee? But Jonathan, all the other dating coaches say men are supposed to pursue and men are supposed to lead and men are supposed to do all this. Folks, look at human pair bonding is so fucking complex right now that the old narratives aren't necessarily accurate. We have a wounded emotional population out there. And you know what's going to heal this wounded population is love. Love for oneself, but also compassion and love for another human being. But Jonathan, I expect men to be confident because he's not confident. He won't be able to take care of me and blah, blah, blah. By the way, we have a very emotionally wounded marketplace. I'm repeating myself. I'm not overly confident. I'm riddled with insecurities, folks. I mean, I've got because I'm committed to commitment, I can overcome a lot of those issues because I'm committed to commitment. As I said in the beginning of this broadcast, a man who loves you will never do this. He'll never not progress the relationship forward, but he has to be committed to commitment. You know nothing about him. So until you get to know him, who cares who initiates? Just get to know each other, and then you can decide if this person is worth pursuing. Is this sinking in? Is this sinking in? Is this resonating? Please let me know. Hit that like button. By the way, Sue Ann just posted. Thank you for the $20 super sticker. Thank you so much. I'm in Tulsa right now caring for my mom's last cancer surgery. I live in Puerto Morelos, Mexico. Please forgive me, I butchered, and it doesn't allow me to contribute where I am. Thank you for all your content. Sue Ann, I'm going to send your mother some love, and I'm sending you some love as well. Thank you for your love to the Connor Ashley Scholarship Fund. I think first impressions, Sandy says, I think first impressions count. It's a good start. Yes, first impressions can affect us, but you know, oftentimes first impressions can be misleading because we can project our own shit onto another person, or we might have transference. For example, I was at a spiritual retreat and one woman was kind of critical of one of the men in the retreat. That's because this one man reminded her of someone in her life, an unhealthy, toxic person in her life. And she had judgment about that person. Sometimes our first impressions are based on projections or they're based on transference. And sometimes that transference goes the other way. In other words, we're attracted to someone because they remind us of someone. I seem to always be dating my mother, not from a physical sense, but from another sense, because there's a level of projection and transference going on in my life. So first impressions oftentimes are our judgments and not necessarily a true evaluation of a person. Just remember that as well. Thank you, Sandy, for that. Hey, I want to thank Heather for the $5 super sticker. That means we're $15 away from our goal tonight. Thank you so much. Rose says, I think the best way to teach a man how to treat you, you stand on business, is to not play their game in the first place. If their actions don't match their words, women must pivot. You know, I just believe in authentic connection. Just be authentic with each other. I once responded to a woman's question with something authentic. And you know what happened? She ghosted me. Or excuse me, she stopped communicating, okay? I recognized that I was sincere, I was vulnerable, and it wasn't her jam. The right person is going to appreciate the little sixth grader inside of you, that little 6-year-old inside of you, instead of judging you, because they're probably projecting from their own life instead of actually wanting to get to know another human being. This is the problem with cyber connections and the belief that we have so many opportunities out there. Anyways, just my thought. Heather wants to say, I don't have his number. I see him several times a week because he works at a bakery where I get my parents' goodies. Okay, well, just, here's the thing. There might be 100 reasons why he doesn't reach out to you. Your job is to continually to live your life and not create a story about this person. Okay? Pulte Flowers say, if I give someone my number, they have 2 days to check in, not interested in aloof men. I would give it a little more than 2 days. That's just my belief system. Again, max is 7 days, but if that's how you feel, then that's how you feel. So I want to share with everyone something. I was at a spiritual retreat the other day. I call it a spiritual treat, but it was a personal development, self-help, and spiritual retreat, which was camping in Catalina Island on the beach. We could only eat our food off of a campfire. There was no running water. There was no showers, no electricity, no internet. Why I'm sharing all this with you is I went for a walk on the last day. And while I was walking on the last day, I was like, I want to pick up a memento of my experience. And so I was looking on the ground and I said, stop looking, stop looking. Just let intuition guide you. And I was looking and I was walking. Finally, I saw a rock on the ground that caught my eye. And I thought it looked like a heart. And when I reached down to pick it up, and I looked at him like, this looks nothing like a heart. It was a rectangle shaped rock. And I was ready to walk away and I saw a rock buried amongst other rocks. And I was like, and I looked at it. I remember looking at it for a moment. I go, oh, I can't tell what it looks like. And I started to walk away and I said, no, let me reach down. I was curious because I saw the side of the rock, and it had no real connection with me, but I felt this strong desire to pick it up. I mean, it was like this gigantic impulse and it was buried amongst other rocks. And then when I turned it, look what I found. A heart. My intuition was guiding me. My intuition was guiding me. Why am I sharing this with you all? I started to look for a heart because I was forcing it. And then I stopped looking and just said, trust your inner guidance system. And when I went to go pick up a rock that looked like a heart for a moment, and it made me stop in this one spot, I picked up this heart and it looked like a rectangle. Okay. I mean, I didn't save that one, threw it back in the ocean. But then this other rock caught my eye. And again, this is what I saw, the side of it. But I kept looking at it and then I was about to walk away because I didn't see it. But I felt this strong pull. And again, look what I have here. And we'll turn it on its other side. Okay. That's the way this works. Now, the problem with the strong pull is we can think of when we're focused on trying to find that life partner, we're not going to see it because we're too hyper-focused. But also, when we hyper-focus on chemistry as our indicator of relationship success, we don't get to see the true personality. This is why I'm inviting you all to do the self-awareness work, the self-help, the spiritual work, the personal development work, so you can be attuned to your intuition. My intuition was screaming at me, pick up that rock. But I was like, well, but that doesn't look like it, what I wanted. But something kept driving me. Something kept driving me to want to pick up that rock. And then look what I found. Look what I found. I want you to apply this same principle to your dating, mating, and relating life. Allow your inner guidance system to do the navigating for you. Because you'd be surprised what happens when you get so attuned to who you are and what you want. You may find what you sink. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know. If it is, post a comment below. I'd like to hear your thoughts. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And also, if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. I'm going to give myself a big hug over that. And I just want to add that Beach Lover just posted, it's a message from the universe. Yeah, it's a message from the universe. All right. I just want to thank, first off, I want to thank Pamela for the $5 super sticker. Thank you so much for the love. I also want to thank Patricia for the super sticker. Thank you for the love. And if anyone wants to be coached right now, just click on the link that I just posted. We will do a coaching session for the next 15 minutes. We can talk about whatever you need help with. Denise says, I love that analogy. Thank goodness we get time. Yeah, thank goodness we are given this gift. Folks, I know it's a fucked up marketplace out there. The dating marketplace is a shit show. I believe dating and relationships are a catalyst for individual growth. This is why I'm such a proponent on my channel for personal development, self-help, and spiritual work, to love oneself through this vehicle. Listen, I wake up every morning hopeful, not doubtful, hopeful that someone special will come into my life. And I hold that space every day. Whether they do or not, I go about my business, but I wake up with hope. Actually, I wake up with a knowing. I know someone special will come into my life. It might come at the very tail end of my life, may come in, who knows when that's going to be, may come in the next lifetime. That's possible too. All right, Angie is in the house. Hey, Angie.
Hey, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Hey, I have a question for you. I have pulled 4 men off of the Facebook dating app.
Okay.
I chose to let 3 of them go. One of them that I am seeing, it was like instant connection with us. Okay. Total instant connection. Sparks were there. Everything's good. I told him that I wanted him to call me every day. That's one of my rules. I want text every day. Okay. And I want a date once a week. Okay. So he finally started doing this with me. It took maybe 2 or 3 weeks. We have not been intimate yet. Okay. I've found out that we've been together since the end of August.
Okay.
I mean, no, the end of July. We've been together since the end of July. Okay. We went out on 4 dates so far. He does have business that he attends to, in North Carolina and places like that are not near me. So he does take off for several weeks at a time.
Okay.
But my question is I found out about him was that he was married for 30 years.
Okay.
He ended up divorcing his wife.
Okay.
He lost a home in the divorce.
Okay.
He is now living in his wife's home that he has paid for.
Okay.
They have a grandchild that she is forcing him to watch every other week.
Okay.
Okay. And I just found all this out that he doesn't really have the means. And I don't know if I should, allow him to move in with me, which I wouldn't care if he did. Okay. That's not a problem with me. But when I asked him yesterday about where does he want to go in the relationship, he says, let's just take it slow. spend more time together and, see where it goes.
Okay.
Um, it's like his ex-wife, they've been divorced for 8 years, but it's like his
Okay.
ex-wife still has control over him. And
Okay.
I'm just concerned that would she still have any control if he did move in with me?
Okay.
Because right now he's taken off going, I'm, off for a week of work and I'm not sitting around babysitting my grandchild. The son's in the
Okay.
home. The son is 22. I'm like, throw
Okay.
the responsibility of the child on him.
Okay.
The mother of the child has taken off and abandoned the child.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of going, am I biting off more than I can chew with this guy? He's a great guy. He's got a master's degree. He's a supervisor. I mean, he had his life together for 20 years, and he found out that she had taken $45,000 of his money. She's never worked, and he just couldn't trust her.
Okay.
And he divorced her, but it seems like she has a whole lot of control.
Okay.
I mean, so am I biting off more than I can chew?
So when you say I'm biting off more than I can chew, why don't you elaborate on what that means to you?
It means is she all once he's if I can get him out of that home and that situation that he's in,
Yeah.
will she still have control over him concerning the grandchild?
Okay.
And right
So,
now he's paying the electric bill, he's paying the water bill, he's
okay.
mowing her grass, he's doing all of the maintenance to the home. He's
Okay.
taking the child to ballet once a week.
Okay.
You know what I
He
mean?
sounds like a good grandfather.
He's a great grandfather, but see,
Okay.
I think that that's the stipulation is
So
as
I
long
think
as
you're asking me the wrong question, Angie. Now, I understand where you're going. Okay.
mm-hmm,
You're trying to, when you say bite off more than I can chew, what I believe
uh-huh,
what you really mean is, does this man have the capacity to be in a significant relationship with somebody else without being pulled by other people? I think that's your real question. Let's put that in a box for a moment because we don't know
yes,
the answer to that yet. Okay.
uh-huh.
I think what's more important is, why don't you describe forget this man is in your life. Pretend this is the day before you met him on Facebook dating app.
Uh-huh.
What do you want for yourself?
What I was married for 27 years, 29
Okay.
years.
Okay.
Okay. I have been we've been divorced 3 years. Okay, this is the first man that I have been really attracted to on an emotional level because I'm
By the way,
demisexual.
now, do you hear what Angie? Let me interrupt you for a second. I said, imagine he wasn't, this was the day before you met him. I want
Uh-huh.
you to describe what you want.
What I want is someone that will be there and spend time with me, be
Okay.
my partner,
Okay.
be someone that I can do things with, enjoy my
Okay.
life with.
Okay.
Um, I have grandchildren, I have children. Do I need a man to complete me? No. I mean, I've got my children and my grandchildren that I can take care of and get love from them. But I just
Okay.
want a partner in life. And I don't know at this point if I'll ever get that because he told me it cost
Well, no,
him
no, no.
half
Yeah,
a
by
million
the way,
dollars.
stop again, Angie. Angie, stop. I
Mm-hmm.
said, pretend this was a conversation you and I were having before you met him. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I want to understand what you want. So it sounds like you want companionship, you want connection, you want physical intimacy at some point, and I suspect you want
Right.
some level of commitment. Is that right?
Right. That's
Okay.
100%
Okay.
correct.
So now we're going to evaluate whether or not he's a good candidate. Okay. Now I'm going to be candid with you. you told me in the very beginning, I expect him to call me every day. Okay. I don't like that energy. I don't like when someone tells me what to do. I'm just telling you how that feels. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Because it's not a 2-lane street. Okay.
Uh-huh.
It's not, because I want someone that calls me once a day, and I'm open to calling them once a day, but I don't like being told what to do, and I like a 2-lane street. So I just want to tell you how I reacted when you told me that. And I
Okay.
expect the date every week. Okay. That's very controlling behavior. I just want you to know that's
Okay.
different between making a request. Okay. Because you use the word expect. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Expect isn't a request. I would love it if we speak every day is a request. Then it doesn't matter who initiates. I would
Right.
love it if we could go out once a week together. It doesn't matter who initiates it. So that's number one. Okay.
Okay.
I wanted to address that.
Okay.
I made some notes. So now he went through, it sounds like a financial hardship in his life, and it's put him in a position where he's living with. Now, is he divorced from his ex? Okay. Is the wife an ex-wife, and is it a legal divorce?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So there, because I suspect, now this is the tricky part. They have how long were they married for?
About 20 years.
20 years. That's a very significant amount of time that you may no longer be lovers with one another, but you can certainly be family to one another. I mean, my ex-wife and I were only married 12 years, and I consider her my family because we have 2 children together. She's not a lover, she's part of my family. So I could understand why he's moving into the home with his ex-wife, and she was agreeable to it. Okay.
No,
I'm
no,
just
no.
saying,
She lives 2 blocks away with her
oh,
boyfriend.
okay. So he just happens to live in the home. She's gifting him this home as a place to live. So that's what
Right.
family does for one another. Okay. I'm just
Right.
offering an alternate way of looking at it. And she lives with someone else. Now you say
Yes.
she controls him spending time with his grandchild. Okay. Well, by the way, you controlled him by saying, I expect you to call me once a week and I expect you to date me once a week. That was a
True.
control. So does that mean, now this could mean that this man lacks backbone? Okay. I could say that he could be easily controlled by women. And it sounds like you're controlling and you have power over him because he seems to be adhering to this. I'm just offering that. Now, you said
Right.
he's a great guy because he has a master's degree. Okay, let me just be clear with something. You don't know this man. You've only known him for 2 months. You have no idea of his deep, true character. So to say just because, now I know you meant beyond that, he has a master's degree means he has some level of education, but you don't know the quality of his character yet. How do you determine the quality of a person's character? Through social activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, traveling together, teamwork, building skills, both in your personal and your professional life, intimacy, both physical and emotional intimacy with a game plan. So what I suspect where he's at, though, because he said, let's just go with the flow right now. Okay. I suspect, if you listen to the part of the broadcast earlier, I suspect he's not committed to commitment. That's your real, that it's not you say the issue is, could he be controlled by the ex-wife? His real issue is he's not committed to commitment. You met through Facebook dating app, and he just wants somebody in his life. He's not committed to commitment. Okay. Most likely. Okay. Now, this is where you're going to be in a challenging position because you've already thought about him moving in with you. Well, I would say you should be dating for 6 months to a year before you ever consider something like that.
Oh,
And I
definitely.
would want to, so you're getting way too ahead of yourself. Now, I understand your desire to want to vet the potential of this. You said getting ahead of yourself, and I understand that piece. Okay. We don't have enough information to make that assessment. Now, there are some things that are challenging. If his financial life is in a bit of chaos, if it is, then the ground underneath him isn't solid to be in a committed relationship. What women have a propensity to do is project the future, like what you just did. You projected the future, and you're gambling. I'm rolling dice right now. You're gambling with your future, projecting his future. This is why I said it's more about you than it is about him. Now, you can certainly remain in the friend zone for a long, long time until there's real trust built between the two of you. Okay? Real trust between the two of you. I don't think you have enough trust to make any decisions. And this is why it's called dating. Do you know why it's called dating, Angie?
Mm-mm.
The reason why it's called dating was a very easy word to describe the following. Holy fucking shit, is insane trying to figure out another human being. But that was a turnoff. So they go, let's just call that dating. That's what dating is. You're trying to figure out another human being. You're trying to see if we're compatible with one another. You're doing all of these efforts. Now, you've said to me, you have this amazing chemistry and connection with him, okay? You have to be very careful because that can cloud judgment. This is where we take red flags and paint them green. We wear rose-colored glasses. So my advice to you is to just get to know each other to see if you make sense from a long-term perspective. I would say the ground underneath him isn't solid right now for him to do that. He may need to take some time on his own to build his life, to be able to merge life with someone else. And you have to be careful. And a lot of people posted this comment. You have to be careful because he could take from you and you seem to be generous enough to give, and you might be setting yourself up for failure. I'm just giving you some insight here.
Okay. He told me that he has been in 4 serious relationships in 8 years.
Okay.
I'm trying to
so
figure out.
That means he's a failure 4 times. That means he's a failure 4 times.
He said he broke up with them because they wanted to get married and he didn't.
Oh, well then, okay. So you see, that invites deep investigation. So he obviously has a reservation for marriage for some reason, which at least is beneficial to you from the sense that he's not going to get immersed, entangled in your financial life from that perspective. But that's not, by the way, do you see what he did? He blamed them. He takes no ownership in why it ended. I said he had 4 failures. You see it as like, oh, he at least committed 4 times. I see it as 4 failures. By the way, they're not failures, but there's a deeper reason, Angie, behind why these didn't work out. And you have to be very careful not to whitewash those reasons. There's reasons there. I highly doubt that was the real reason. I think that could be his excuse. Okay. They wanted to get married. Well, then why didn't you want to marry them? And then he's going to say something negative about them. And I'm like, then why did you date them if they weren't marriage material? Why would you date? That's why I said he's not committed to commitment.
Thank you.
He's not committed to commitment. You there? Hello?
There you go. So do I need to dig deeper with him in these 4 relationships that
So here's the challenge with what I'm about to say.
Hey, do I need to dig deep?
Okay, so the answer is yes. And Angie, I'm going to now talk to everybody on this video, okay? So, but I'm going to use you as a catalyst. Do I need to dig? Okay. Do you need to dig deeper? Absolutely dig deeper, okay? But the reality is you're most likely going to want to see this through. You are already attached to him, okay? You're already attached to him. So you're going to see this through. Like if I told you break up with him right now and move on, you're not going to do it, okay? Because I highly doubt you are so in tune to your intuition, because your intuition is speaking to you. The fact that you even jumped on this video and want questions answered is your intuition goes, something's not right, okay? Now, when something's not right, you should stop all engagement. Okay. Now, you could be a little bit more inquisitive. That's certainly something to do. But my concern for you is you're already hooked. You're already hooked. You're going to see this through. When the fact of the matter is you should have found this out way sooner, which it sounds like you did, some of it. And you should have just said no then. But it's too late right now because you're already hooked. So you're already, this is what so many women do, is they see it through to the nth degree. They spend years with the wrong person instead of truly tapping into their intuition, instead of truly tapping into their inner voice. Because you focused on him for the first 15 minutes of this conversation. I had to bring it back to you, because here's what I'm inviting, and I'm saying this to everybody, Angie. I'm using you as the catalyst here. Ladies and Angie, what's most important is to become so attuned to your true alignment within yourself. And when something feels misaligned, you just go, put that in the friend zone, emotional friend zone, because you're already beyond emotional friend zone. Keep someone in the emotional friend zone until it's an actual yes. And given where this man is in his life financially, the ground underneath him doesn't sound very solid. He is not going to be a yes, hence why he says, let's just take it slow. Because the truth is, he has no commitment to commitment. Is this sinking in?
It's sinking in with me.
All right. Can I reach into the camera and give you a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug of appreciation?
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you. I appreciate you joining.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now. You know, ladies, I am so grateful for Angie for jumping on today and sharing with something that was a great learning lesson for us all. A man's capacity to be in a relationship requires the ground underneath him to be solid. If the ground underneath him is solid, he might desire companionship, connection, and sex, but that doesn't mean he desires commitment or is capable of commitment. Be careful projecting the future, just like what she did. She was already thinking about living with him, projecting a future way out, which I understand because she wants to assess whether or not it makes sense. But the problem is she's already attached to this person. So she will most likely see it through. Probably to her detriment, most likely. But hey, listen, a broken clock is right twice a day. So we have no idea whether or not this is going to turn into something spectacular. Who knows? That's why we go on this journey. But the most important part of the journey is not about him. It's about her. It's about you, Angie. And that's my invitation for you. So again, if a man's life isn't solid, it's very difficult to commit. And if that's the case and he's not committed to commitment, I would keep dating until you meet a person that is. Is this sinking in? Hey, by the way, folks, is this sinking in? Is this resonating? Please let me know if it is. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Post a comment below. As always, if you find value in this videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos, and hit that notification bell on your phone as well. Also, if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. There's a link to join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. There's a link to join get all the books I recommend. And before I wrap up this video, wow, Jonathan, you were kind. I like this. I'm doing better, folks, to be kinder to people. I know I've been a jackass. I know I've been cruel. I know I've been kind of a pain in the ass. Sometimes that righteous part of me comes out, and I'm working on that part of my personality as well. Hey, folks, thanks for listening. I'm going to wrap up this video as I always do. First off, giving myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love, if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, a pet, a teddy bear, a pillow, and give it or them a hug of love, because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. I want to thank Power of Chi. Wait, what does Power of Chi say? That guy has got a master's in bullshit. Cindy, I want to thank Cindy and Sharon, Brenda, and everyone, RM Bell, who donated, and everybody who donated tonight, and Rose and Gina and Sharon and Beach Lover and XX and Jahela and RM Rose, Patricia, certainly Angie for being on. I want to thank everyone. Deb, Diane, everyone. Everyone, wishing you all a super duper wonderful, fantastic day. Be well. Thanks. Bye-bye now.